Hi, this is Monica Paz with Nourish Functional Nutrition, and today I thought I would take a few minutes to talk to you about a topic that is near and dear to my heart because it affects all of us. It's inflammation. And I know that many of you have asked me about your pain and your discomfort and the things that you're experiencing. And I want you to be able to have some tools that you can look at yourself and ask yourself, does this apply to me? And if it does, then to know what to do, what to look for, how to arrive at an answer that is going to help you in your health. And so the first thing that I want to do is I want to define inflammation, let you know where or what you can do about it, but also give you some action items, because I think that once you put information into action, then you'll be able to do something that will directly affect your health, and then you'll be able to move forward. A lot of times we get stuck because we're in pain and we have brain fog, or maybe things are just not working and we don't know where to turn or what to do. So my goal here is to give you tools that you can apply to learn how your body works so that you can take control of your own health and you know where to go next. There's so many tools available, and I have a huge tool bag, and I want to make it available to you. So let's just start out by defining inflammation. What is inflammation? It's not a bad thing. Actually, inflammation was designed to help us heal. And when there's inflammation in the body, there are four things that you will see. You will see redness, you will see heat, you will see swelling, and you will see pain. And if you think about a cut that you've had on your leg, or maybe you scraped yourself or whatever, within 6 weeks, at first you're going to see all of these hallmarks of inflammation, but then over time, your body, which was designed to heal itself, will create a scab, and then that scab will fall off and you will end up with a scar, and then you move on. If you think about that process has been in place since we were born. We were designed to heal ourselves. But in the process of healing ourselves, there are a lot of chemicals in the body that come to the rescue when you have an injury. And if that injury is not acute but it becomes chronic, that's when the problem begins. And so inflammation is at the core of all chronic diseases that we know today. So things like Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, Crohn's disease, gut infections, you name it. Anything that you have going on in your body, at the very core of it is inflammation. That's the latest thing that we have learned from the Genome Project. So now that we have that information and we know what's happening, so if you've had an old injury from high school or from many years ago, just know that we're dealing with inflammation. You're dealing with inflammation, and let's just look and see how you can look at your lifestyle, look at your diet, and see if there's anything that you can do to just calm that down so that you can in turn heal and move forward. So I don't want you to be stuck in one place thinking that there is no cure, or that the only cure is to take medication. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with medication in an acute case, but when you have to take a number of medications and have to deal with the side effects, then things get really complicated. And just so you know, what I'm sharing with you, I'm not a doctor, and so I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm just providing information that you can either take or leave. So we defined inflammation. Now let's just talk about how it feels in your body. So it could come in the form of heartburn. It could come in the form of indigestion or pain in your joints, brain fog, inability to sleep, pain in any area of your body, in your muscles, things like fibromyalgia or plantar fasciitis. Anything that ends in IS, it has inflammation in it. So what do we do about it? Where do you go when it comes to your diet to get some things removed? So that's the place to start. Is to start removing some things. We call it the elimination diet, and you may not want to go with an elimination diet right off the bat, but you may want to start tracking the things that you're eating and just paying attention. One of the things that I'm really good at is paying attention to details. I'm just a master of like a detective. My family just they think that it's very annoying because I follow and I trace and I know who forgot to change the toilet paper in the bathroom and all these things. But I have managed to use this to my advantage, and I want to make those tools available to you. I'm that person that helps you learn about your body so that you can do something about it. So let's look at the diet and what are the things that we look at that cause inflammation. So let's just look just right off the top. First one would be sugar. So sugar is anything that is refined, that is in a package, white, manufactured. That's going to be found in soft drinks. It's going to be found in juices, believe it or not, and it's going to be found in candy, desserts, obviously. And there are things that we will talk about that you can do to replace the sweetness in your life, but the manufactured refined sugar is the first place to go when it comes to inflammation. That feeds the cancer, it feeds the cardiovascular disease, it feeds everything. Sugar turns to fat, it hardens your arteries, it raises your blood sugar levels. If you have been told that you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, that would be a great place to start, is to identify where sugar is coming from in your diet. The second one is processed fats, like trans fats. Trans fats are liquid vegetable fats that have been made solid, things like Crisco. And you think, well, I never use Crisco. But if you look at your packaged goods, a lot of the packaged products have trans fats in them, and that is an inflammatory fat. You want to get rid of that. Processed fats like corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil, all those have been manufactured with chemicals, and those need to be replaced. And we'll talk about replacements in just a little bit. From there, we move on to processed foods. Processed foods have, by definition, they have been made in a factory. They're not found in nature. So we're all about replacing things that are plastic, things that are made by man with whole foods. And why is that? Because things that are manufactured are not designed to be digested. So one of the things that Dr. Mark Hyman talks about, and he's the director of functional nutrition at the Cleveland Clinic. He has a great podcast called The Doctor's Pharmacy. And he says one of the things that he says is that there is no such thing as junk food. There is junk, and then there's food. And so that's the question to ask yourself. Is this food? What I'm eating is food. If it's not, if the majority of the food that you're eating comes from a package, then you are introducing things into your body that were not meant to be digested. And that's a problem because your body does not recognize them as something that needs to be digested. In some cases, some people have irritation with dairy products, so that's another area that you may want to look at. Dairy products may be causing inflammation because, after all, we were not meant to digest cow's milk. We were meant to digest human milk, and we are actually the only mammals that continue to drink milk past age 2, which is really curious. And so it's no wonder that a huge percentage of the population has trouble digesting milk. And so that would be another one to take a look at. Fourth, I would look at alcohol. Alcohol in the latest research has shown that all kinds of alcohol is harmful to the human body. And so I'm not saying don't ever drink, but you really need to start thinking about looking at how much alcohol you're drinking and whether that's affecting your blood sugar, your sleep, your weight, and your brain fog if you are functioning to the best of your ability, so that it all comes down to the reason why you want to get better. So that's going to be one of our action items, is to really start thinking about why you want to get better, or why you're here, why you're listening, why you're interested in finding about nutrition, lifestyle, and inflammation. Other things that we can look at, additives, colors, things that are, basically not whole foods. And so why whole foods? Because nature intended for us to eat things from the ground and to digest them. We have needs from every vitamin, every mineral, all the things that our bodies need in order to function are found in nature. So what are these things that are important to use to decrease inflammation in the body? Whole foods like fruits, vegetables, mostly vegetables, limiting fruits to a couple a day. Grass-fed and grass-finished beef, and grass-finished meaning that the cattle ate grass their entire life, not just until a week or two before slaughter. And the reason for that is because what you eats matters to you. You're eating whatever the food that you're eating is eating. And so ideally you want everything to be natural, coming from the ground, being grown in an environment that is wholesome. And that's where we look at nutrient density, and we'll have a talk about nutrient density in a future video. But so beginning with the kind of protein that you're eating, wild-caught fish, grass-fed beef, pastured chickens, or poultry, pastured eggs, nuts are great because they, again, come from the earth. Ideally, you want to soak your nuts, and we'll talk again a little bit more about that. And the reason for that is because when you soak nuts, you decrease the phytate content, and the phytate sometimes will trap trace minerals. And if you're going to start increasing the amount of nuts that you're eating in your diet, then you want to make sure that those nuts are nice and soaked. They will sprout, and in sprouting you release a lot of nutrients. So all legumes, nuts should be soaked for at least 8 hours, and then the water gets drained, and then you can use them that way. You can toast the nuts in an oven at 200 degrees. So going through the plant kingdom, then we have cruciferous vegetables. These are the cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. All of these are really great for you if you have trouble with Hashimoto's or autoimmunity. You want to make sure that you cook these vegetables, because in some cases they may affect your thyroid. But when you look at the plate, we're looking at things that are colorful. So different groups of vegetables, like starchy vegetables, like the root vegetables, things like squashes, or sweet potatoes, cassava or yucca, those things that grow underground, turnips, rutabagas, all of these things, beets, they're all meant to provide different kinds of nutrients to our bodies. So as you look at your plate, you should be looking at half to 3/4 of the plate being from the plant kingdom, and then a small piece of protein if you're not vegan or vegetarian. If you are, then I would go with beans or tofu, something that would provide some extra nutrients in the protein area. And then if you're going to use milks, I would use the nut milks if you can, or coconut milk. When it comes to fats, healthy fats would be avocados, avocado oil, coconut oil in moderation, and then olive oil, olives, things of that nature that would be wholesome fats that come, again, from the earth, that are not processed. When it comes to sweeteners or sweet things, making desserts with fruit, a lot of times when we remove sugar, a lot of times, no, all the time, when we remove sugar from the diet, processed refined sugar, your taste buds have a new awakening, and now fruit is luscious, and it's delectable, and it is nutritious, and it is something that you look forward to eating. So we will talk about making some nice desserts that involve just fruit and natural sweeteners like coconut sugar and maple syrup and honey. There's just some amazing things that you can do with those. Cocoa is amazing. It's it provides a lot of nutrients for you, so you can add it to your smoothies. Using smoothies will be really great. One last thing that I forgot to mention in the remove category is the processed foods. So anything processed, anything that is, a cookie or something that has been manufactured to have a refined flour that has no fiber in it, because fiber is ideal for our microbiome. The microbiome is the gut bacteria, and that gut bacteria actually keeps us healthy. They keep all the bad bugs out, and they provide an environment that is conducive to digestion, good absorption, and great health. And so let's leave it at that for today. We talked about what is inflammation. We talked about the symptoms of inflammation and why inflammation causes chronic disease. And then we talked about foods that you want to start paying attention to try to remove from your diet, and then foods that you're going to bring into your diet. So the action items for today, if you choose to follow me and continue to explore what's going on in your body, would be to keep a food journal. Just take some notes and see where your food is coming from, and then consider removing some of these inflammatory foods that we talked about: sugar, refined flours, trans fats, refined fats, sweeteners, alcohol, things that are going to inflame you, and just see what happens. And I usually offer a detox or a cleanse several times a year, so I'll be talking to you about that. If you guys want to come along with me, I will help you do that. But if you've already done a cleanse and you're in the process of assessing, the best thing that you can do is to keep a food record and start checking your symptoms. So we'll talk a little bit more about inflammation on the next video. You guys have a great day and be healthy. And remember, subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and leave a comment, because I would love to answer all your questions. And go to my website at nourishedfunctionalnutrition.com or nourishedfn.com. I hope to see you guys again. And keep watching, because I have a lot more information, not only on inflammation, but all kinds of topics. So remember to send me a note and let me know what you want to hear about. Have a great day. Bye-bye.